Today we're looking at the JTC Drum and Loop Pro by Nux. If you ask my opinion, I think one of the most enjoyable types of effects pedals you can buy, if you can really call them an effects pedal, is a looper pedal. And I've tried many throughout my years of playing guitar, and they all have pros and cons, but today we're looking at the JTC Drum and Loop Pro by Nux. Now, one thing that you're going to probably notice right off the bat is the size of this looper pedal. It is quite beefy, and I've tried many other looper pedals that are smaller than this one, but don't necessarily have all of the built-in features that this one has. To be fair, I want to say that Nux also has a smaller version of this one. This is the Pro version, which means it has all of the features and functions that you would want to have in a looper pedal. So the first thing I want to talk about on this pedal is the ins and outputs that are available on it, because this is where it stands apart from the smaller looper pedals that are available on the market today. You have a regular input, so you would plug your instrument into that. You have the L out for left, and that would go directly to your amplifier. So if you're using it with an amplifier going into it direct, you would use that output. Then you'll have the R out, and that is designated for a mixer. And then finally, you have an external foot switch. You actually can have other options where you can select your saved banks and whatnot with an external foot switch as well. So the USB input there allows you to do various things. So if you want to play with a specific song, something like that, you can actually import it with the software that is provided by the company. Now, this pedal is large, but it takes a 9-volt or 500 milliamp connection. If you want to use a power supply with this, you can. And the pedal is actually made overseas in China, like many of the other Nux pedals. So being the Pro line pedal that Nux is offering, I can tell you right off the bat that the enclosure is extremely solid and very, very high quality looking to me. The switches, the buttons, the display, the writing, everything is top notch. So I know you guys are dying to hear this thing and see it in action. So let's plug it into my combo amplifier. I'll plug in my Gibson Les Paul into it. We'll record it with the camera mic, warts and all, so that you'll be able to hear what I hear in the room while I'm playing it. Won't be recorded very loud. I want to be able to talk over the playing samples and describe what's going on for you guys. And then we'll get your opinion on what you think of it after that's done. I'm going to record a quick loop. When I hit stop, the loop will play automatically. I'll use the adjust buttons to adjust the volume. If the timing's not perfect, you can always undo it and record it again. Press and hold the tap button for that, then hit the record button again when you're ready. Yeah, that sounds better already. That sounds much tighter to me. Let's improvise something here. Once you have the timing right with the metronome, you can put in some drums. That sounds better already. Let's put in a cool rhythm fill right here by clicking the rhythm button. Each drum loop has its own individual rhythm fill. Let's listen to a couple other drum loops here. Whenever you hit an alternate drum fill, you can see a little dot that lights up on the display indicating that it's an alternate loop. Selecting one shot in the stop modes will stop the loop immediately when you press the button. Mine will stop the pattern once it's reached the end of the loop. The fade out stop mode is one of my favorites. It simply fades out the loop like the end of an album or something like that. Love that effect. So let's try the auto record function. I'm going to select a new memory bank, hit the rhythm button, and then select auto record. Arm the recording, and it'll start recording as soon as I start playing. No need to tap the switch to start recording, just tap it when the recording is done. Yikes, that take was obviously super sloppy. So I'm just going to undo that take and try it again. Undo deletes the last take, clear deletes the entire memory bank. Okay, that take is not much better. I had a little screw up there, but I'm going to try to hide it with the drums. That's the beauty of a looper. You can always redo it or hide it with the other sounds. You can use the smart tap button to set the metronome speed if you don't want to use the dial button. Very convenient. Once you find the right drum pattern and tempo you want to use, you're ready to go. Let's have a little bit more fun here. Looper pedals are a blast. After using this pedal for a while, there's not a lot of cons that I can share with you. I really like the way it works. I like the way it sounds. I like the way the drums sound as well. One thing I would like to see, it would be a great option if they would maybe make that in the next version or the next update, is to be able to maybe disable the cymbals or be able to have drum loops where the cymbals are not as loud, because sometimes I feel that the high end is a little overpowering. That would be nice. And I think the major shortcoming of this pedal is the user manual. It's just not that great. There's a lot of information actually missing, and I had to figure out a lot of the features and functions on this pedal on my own, which could lead to a little bit of frustration if you're very impatient and you want to start creating loops right away. So I feel that's probably one of the aspects of the pedal that I liked the least and requires probably a little bit more work. But that being said, you know, a sign of a good pedal is also the fact that you can figure it out without the manual. There's quite a few knobs and more than one switch on this pedal, and that's one of the things that I really like about it. The fact that you have more than one foot switch available to be able to do different things and access different features and functions, and we'll talk about that in a minute. As far as the knobs go, they all feel really nice. They have a nice tactile resistance to all of them. We have the loop level knob, and the loop level is basically a volume level for your loop. So when you record a loop, it might be too low, not loud enough. You can actually just pump up the volume there so that it matches your playing and your amplifier volume. Next, we have a rhythm level button in the middle here, and that does the same thing for the rhythm. So in other words, this pedal allows you to record loops, and it also allows you to use the built-in drum sequencer that's included in here. It's basically a bunch of pre-recorded drum loops that you can play along with your loop. So you can actually have a drum track, and that's super nice. There's quite a few different styles from, you know, rock to jazz to swing and all that kind of stuff as well. Some Latin ones as well that are fun to play with. And you can select that, and if the volume of the drums are not loud enough, you can use the rhythm volume button there to increase it so that it matches your playing style. On the outside, we have a knob, and it's called Rhythm Tempo Select. So this is kind of a dual function knob, and you can feel when you're turning it that it has little notches in it. So you can feel little notches as you turn. And basically what it does is allows you to select the type of rhythm, the drum rhythms that you're playing, and you can also adjust the tempo. And the reason why it's a dual switch is because when you actually click one of these buttons, these knobs will change what they do. So you have to get your head around that, and that's one of the things about these looper pedals where people feel it's a little bit more challenging to understand how they work, because there are dual options available as well. We'll talk about that in a little bit more detail in a minute. At the top here you have a memory select knob, and basically all that does is allows you to scroll through your memory banks. I think you have 256 in all on this pedal, which is super great. So you can record a loop and save it, and you have 256, so you can, you know, loop to your heart's content and not worry about losing any of those great ideas that you have. The little switches here will activate different things as well. You have a save delete switch, which basically will allow you to save your patch once you like what you've done and you don't want to lose that idea. You just simply click the save button. It allows you to save the patch or delete the patch that you already have saved. Then you have your tempo time signature button here, and that allows you, if you press that and use the tempo knob as well, to be able to select the tempo of the drum loop as well as the signature that you want to try and play along with for the drum loops. And that's quite a nice feature to have as well. And then we have the stop modes. The stop modes are a little bit more interesting in the sense that they allow you to use the pedal beyond just start and stop. You can actually have other functions, and there's 4 of them. So the first one at the very top is instant stop, which means that when you press the switch, the loop will stop instantly, okay? The next one over is one shot, meaning when you press the pedal to stop, normally you have to press it twice. This allows you to press just one time to stop the loop from playing, okay? Gives you a little bit more of a finer control, I guess. Then you have another one called fine. Let's say you have a 4-bar loop. It will loop all 4 bars and then stop. My favorite is the fade out one. And the fade out one is pretty cool because when you hit the stop button, the stop switch will play through your loop, and as it's getting to the last bar will fade out. So it kind of sounds like an album, you know, fading out in the mix, and that's pretty cool. I like that a lot. So the 2 foot switches on this pedal are cool as well because they allow you to do different things. The rhythm switch here allows you to start and stop your rhythms. So whenever you want to play the drums, they don't have to necessarily come in at the beginning of your loop. They can actually come in later. You can actually have a bar or 2 of just instrumental and then have your drums come in. So that allows you to kick in the drums. The smart tap button allows you to start your loop for recording, stop your loop for recording. Smart tap function also allows you to use when you're using the tempo option, to use your foot to set the tempo of the actual drums. So you don't have to lean over and fiddle around with the small knob on the pedal when you're trying to set your tempo. You can just click along with, you know, the beat, and that'll set the rhythm for the actual drums, and that's pretty cool, right? I like that feature. If I don't have to touch the pedal, even better. Another aspect of the drum loops on this pedal that I really like as well is the fact that they all have an alternate drum sequence or a fill. So whenever you're playing your drum sequence, you know, after a certain time it gets monotonous, right? And you like to have a little bit more variety. Well, all you have to do while you're playing is hit the rhythm switch, and you have an alternate drum fill that will play while you're hitting that switch, so that you can accent a specific part in your song, or you can have it close out with a little drum fill or something like that. And it really gives a little bit more life to an otherwise monotonous drum sequence that gets boring after a while. So you also have a metronome as one of the actual drum fills, and that's great for practicing as well, but some of us will like to practice with a drum just to have a little bit more feel, and that's a great way of using a looper pedal. Now, the fact that they have a couple of different LEDs as well, they have two on one switch, the smart tap switch, and one on the rhythm switch, it really is clear. In other words, you can see that there's two different colors, and sometimes they do go on together to give you different representations of what's going on, so you know exactly what's happening with the pedal and there's no guessing. And that's one of the downfalls with some of the smaller pedals, is that they're a little bit ambiguous to exactly what mode you're in unless you remember exactly what you clicked or how many times you clicked. So it could get a little confusing. With the Nux pedal, you don't have that. You can actually physically see everything right on the pedal. There's a couple of different recording modes that you can use with this pedal. Obviously, you can use the switches to record automatically, but let's say you don't want to necessarily hit the switch for some reason and you want it to automatically start recording when you start to play. Well, you can do that with this pedal as well. You would use the button to select the AR setting, and that's just done by holding the tempo button down until you see AR on the menu. Then you would press the button to arm the recording function, and at that point the unit is basically listening to hear any kind of noise coming from your guitar. And you have to be careful because, you know, string noise, for example, is enough to make the unit start to record. So you want to be perfectly quiet until you're ready to record, then start to record your chords or sequence or lick or whatever it is, and the unit would automatically start recording for you. So you don't have to worry about punching in at just the right moment. After that, you just have to simply stop the sequence from recording by hitting the foot switch, and it'll start to play the loop, and you'll be able to start playing over it and start experimenting with some really cool ideas. So I like that a lot. So if you don't have a looper pedal, go out and get one, even if it's just a small one. They're great. They open up so many ideas, creative ideas just flow. And sometimes the greatest ideas happen by accident, you know, and you can capture them easily with this. Sometimes just punching in a couple of seconds too late on that lick that you're trying to capture gives it a whole new dimension and a whole new feel that you weren't expecting to like. And all of a sudden now you can play with that and develop that idea further. And obviously having the drums in here are great. A lot more fun than playing with just a simple metronome. A lot more feel. You can practice and get your chops up to speed so that when you're playing with the band and you're playing with the drummer, you're super tight. So I think the money that they're asking for this pedal is well worth it. One of my favorite pedals, and I don't think I'm going to get rid of this pedal anytime soon. Works a whole lot better than some of the simpler ones out there, and I think you guys will enjoy it. So if you have one of these pedals already and you want to leave some comments, leave them below. If you don't have one of these pedals yet and you have some comments, you want me to explain some features or functions, please don't be shy, leave your comments. I'll answer those as well. Let me know what you think, and in the meantime, guys, please subscribe to the channel. It really is the reason why I produce all these reviews. I try and be honest and straightforward without any hype to give you a good representation of the products that I'm reviewing so that you can make up your own mind to whether or not they're right for you. So please give me a thumbs up if you like the content, and if you do like the content, please subscribe because there'll be more coming your way. Thanks a lot, guys. Stay tuned.